What's up everyone, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the Victory Brewing Company, and they're out of Downingtown, Pennsylvania, and this is their Tastykake Koffee Kake Ale. So they're calling this one an ale with a natural flavors. It comes in at 6% alcohol by volume, 35 IBUs at the time of review. This bottle is just under 2 months old, and it also has a best by date of June 7th of 2024. So according to the brewery, we should be more than fine. So this is a collaboration between the Victory Brewing Company and Tastykake, both of which are in Pennsylvania. And on the side here, they have a little spiel. It says locally brewed, locally baked. This very tasty collaboration between a Victory Brewing Company and Tastykake puts the delicious flavors of Tastykake Koffee Kake into a sweet ale with notes of pound cake and cinnamon. So I'm not sure what to expect about this one. I go into all of the reviews with an open mind, try to take some, preconceived notions, throw them to the side. This could be delicious, could be terrible. I have no idea. Now, I did try to pick up the Tastykake Koffee Kake to pair with this one in the review. I could not find them. Went to like 3 or 4 different places. One place had a bunch of different Tastykake products. No coffee cake. It was wild. Absolutely insane. So yeah, anyway, the base of this is basically like a blonde/golden ale. And then, natural flavors can mean a whole host of different things. So anyway, let's get it in the glass, see what we got going on here. So yeah, I'm curious about this one. Cool to see a collaboration like this, honestly, but at the same time, a little bit worrisome because I don't know. I feel like a coffee cake, you should probably put it into maybe like a little bit of cheat there, like into a bigger beer. Like maybe like an Imperial Stout or something. But I don't know. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about most of the time, so, it is what it is. So, yeah, that looks like a blonde/golden ale. It has, that golden kind of look to it. A little bit of like a darker orange into almost golden-esque. Hold it up to the light. Yeah, there's good clarity. I can see my hand on the other side, but it's not like, picture perfect, so there's a little bit of haze in there. Try to generate a head. It had, I would say, like a half finger of this off-white, almost eggshell white head, somewhat creamy looking, a little bit of soap sudsy look to it as well. But yeah, I mean, in the glass itself, that looks like a, golden/blonde ale. So let's get a nose on it here. Yeah, it has a confectionery sweetness, and it does remind me of like a pastry. I'm getting like big whiffs of like caramel though, more so than anything. They say pound cake and cinnamon on their website because I'm not going to BS you. They also mentioned, I think, vanilla cream and brown sugar. Can definitely see the vanilla cream. It definitely has like I guess like, the picture here of the coffee cake. I think that's the coffee cake cupcake. So it has like the filling in the middle. I don't know if they're going for that or more like the traditional coffee cake, but this definitely has like a whipped cream kind of essence to it. But yeah, pound cake, caramel. It definitely has a pastry-esque kind of vibe to the nose. There's an underlying like doughy kind of grainy thing coming from the base beer. Maybe a slight like citrus tone that seems out of place for something like this, but appropriate for the base style. Like a little bit of like a lemony thing going on. It doesn't smell bad, but it definitely smells like, I don't want to say artificial because they're saying natural flavors, but it smells like natural flavors. Does it smell like somebody put a coffee cake, and more specifically a Tastykake Koffee Kake, because there's a lot of different brands of coffee cake. We won't mention the others, but there's a lot of different brands. Did they throw that into this glass? I'd say to some extent, but not all the way. It doesn't smell off-putting, but it does smell pretty fucking sweet. Yeah, I'm definitely getting more vanilla, caramel. Yeah, that doughy pastry-esque kind of vibe. They say pound cake, sure. Touch of cinnamon. They say cinnamon, but like, I don't know. I might not necessarily say cinnamon if I didn't read it on there. Anyway, it smells all right. I'm just hoping it's not crazy sweet. I want it to be drinkable. Anyway, cheers. Another sip. The best way for me to describe this one, it has a very generic finish, like a generic twang on the finish that's kind of slightly off-putting. The rest of it, though, I'm not too upset with, but that finish is kind of weird. All right, body mouthfeel. Buying this one's like lower side medium, approaching medium. It's fine, 6%. The mouthfeel has a nice crisp nature to it, approaching moderate carbonation. Yeah, smooth overall. So body mouthfeel, appropriate, nice. The taste. The forefront is where I get a lot of the coffee cake, right? And they say, pound cake, sure. Like any kind of like base cake, it kind of has like that cakey, almost doughy, just like, pastry-esque kind of quality to it. And that could also be coming from the base beer. Blonde ale a lot of time has, for me, has like a doughy, biscuity type of thing. So that's all hits me right at the forefront, dives underneath the palate. Then the coffee cake portion hits. And for me, it's a mixture of vanilla, cinnamon, and a little bit of like a caramel. They said brown sugar. You could say caramel, toffee, something in that realm, right? As it passes through, there's a lemony kind of citrus pop that hits about midway through the palate, which is interesting. And then on the finish, the one thing I will say about this, I'll give this credit in a couple different ways. Number one, I think the first half of the palate does give you that Tastykake Koffee Kake vibe, right? I think that's cool. I do get, the pound cake they're talking about. I get the vanilla cream, a little bit of the cinnamon, caramel, more confectionery flavors at the front of the palate. That lemony pop is nice because that means the base beer is here to some degree. However, the last third of the palate is where this beer loses me quite a bit. This finishes with a nice, and the reason why I was going to say I was going to give it credit, because this actually has a mild to moderate bitterness, more approaching moderate for me. Like I'm sitting here talking to you, and there's a little bit of a residual bitterness on the back of the palate. So here I was thinking this was going to be like a sweet, like this was going to be like a pastry blonde ale that was just a sweet mess of a beer, but it's not exactly that. It does, again, it balances out. So it's not overly sweet. I definitely get the coffee cake portion. There is just something in the finish for me personally right now, it's sitting in the back of the throat, that is throwing me for a loop. It has a twang to it. It almost has a slight sour kind of finish to it. Not like it's infected, like a recent beer I did from Brooklyn, which was totally infected. It's not sour or tart like that. It just has like this slight tartness, slight sour kind of component on the back, but it also has just a weird character. It's a twang. I can't really describe it more so than that. It's just something that's decently off-putting on the finish, which is a bummer because I think this would have been pretty solid otherwise. Yeah, it's just every single time I go back for a sip, that finish is just kind of killing it for me. Here's what I'll say. When I don't like a beer in any review, I don't typically, hate on the beer because, beer is subjective. This beer might be loved by many out there. It might be hated by many. I just try to give you my opinion on it. Here's the thing. I like the flavors through the first 3/4 of the palate. I think I get the Tastykake Koffee Kake portion. I like that I get the base beer. Plain and simple, the finish of this one is ruining for me. There's a twang, a little bit of like a tart/sour character that's kind of just off-putting as far as me liking this beer. Do I hate this beer? No. Could I drink it? Yeah, I probably could drink this one, no questions asked. I don't want to drink any more of these if it tastes exactly like this. Maybe I'll pick up another bottle and just see. Maybe I have an off bottle, I don't know. But for me, just not loving it, which is a bummer. 6%, you really can't tell. Maybe a little bit of a warming into the chest and the stomach. 6% though, it's very minute. This is what I'll say about this one. If this sounds interesting to you, go try it. I always say try every single beer because you don't know if you're going to like a beer until you try it yourself. You can watch all the beer reviews on BeerTube. You can go to Untapped and Beer Advocate, and you can have your best friends tell you what they think about a beer. But until you try it, you don't really know. I've had beers before where I align with certain people's palates maybe 90% of the time. So when they say, hey, I don't like it, I usually don't. But there's a lot of time, there's 10% of the time where I'm like, man, I actually like that. I can't believe you didn't enjoy it. It's subjective, so it is what it is. So I would say pick this one up if you can get your hands on it just to try it for novelty's sake. But for me, the finish ruins it. So, you know what? I got to be honest with my rating. So Victory's Tastykake Koffee Kake Ale for me, I'm going to give this a high 3 out of 5 and go 3.1 out of 5. That's the best I can do on this one. I'm still passing the beer. And again, it's not horrible or anything. It's just, it's not for me. It's just not for me. Like I said, I might pick up another bottle and give it a go. But cool concept though. I would honestly, I hope this turns into like a series of beers from Tastykake. Maybe they can do some of their other, pastries and whatnot. I think it would be really cool. Really would. Yeah. Anyway, hopefully it'd be better than this, at least for me personally. Price point availability, not too bad. This was $11.99 a 6-pack. I picked up a single. I think I paid like, it's like $2.09 or $2.19 or something. That's fine. Might be a little bit cheaper in your neck of the woods, maybe a little bit more expensive. For me here in Buffalo, New York, it was $12 a 6-pack. And availability, I don't exactly know. I do know a viewer of the channel, Chaz, who we talk distribution all the time. He said that in his area, I forget where, Chaz, you're in the New England area, right? He said in his area, he can't find it. You know, he went to the beer finder on Victory's website. So I don't know if this is going to hit every single distribution area that Victory is in. The press release did say it was going to hit their distribution network, but I don't know if that means full on or just certain areas. Here in Buffalo, we definitely got our hands on it. So I can't guarantee that you'll see this if you do get Victory, but if you do see this, like I said, give it a go, especially if you can buy a single. Give it a try, see what you think about it. I wish I would have had the Tastykake Coffee Cake next to me to like try to see, is there anything that I'm getting in that pastry or in that product that I'm getting in this beer? Maybe that finish is part of it. I don't think so. I think it's just how it is. Let me go one more sip. So I'll make sure I'm giving this a fair shake. Pretty good? No. That finish. I will say the bitterness isn't really building, but I will give them credit again for that bitterness, because pastry beers in general, when they're too sweet, they can just be cloying and just too much. That's not happening for me in here. It's unfortunate that the finish is doing something else that I don't like, but it is what it is. So anyway, if you've had this one before, post in the comment section. Let me know what you think about this one. I appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. I like Victory stuff. I review a lot of their stuff on the channel. It's not going to deter me from buying any of their stuff going forward. I'm sure they'll come out with some cool releases this year that I want to get my hands on. But I had to try this one. Looked too much fun to review. And it was pretty fun to review. Just wish it was a little better. Anyway, to the next one. Cheers.